First and foremost is about the introduction of Japanese modern games. As we all know, Japan is famous for their modern games such as Super Smash Bros, Sonic Hedgehog, and Tekken. Most of the games that made by their company are role-playing games where you be the main character of the story or your own customization character to progress along the story of the game. Most of their popular games are made from the big 5 Japanese game developers such as Nintendo Corporation, Sega Sammy Holdings, Bandai Namco Holdings, and Konami. With the hard work of this company, Japan placed themselves on a high level when it comes to video games. So how does this make Japan well known? In general, every video games have their own visual image based on how the game is, and this is what the game attracts people to decide play the game. Thus, while the player progress through the story, they can also learn the beautiful scenery of Japan in the game. Here, we will talk about 2 examples of the most popular Japanese modern games.
Did you know that Bandai Namco, one of the biggest game developers, has made a role-playing game based on Sword Art Online? Yes, you heard it right. Sword Art Online Integral Factor was first announced at Tokyo Game Show 2017 by Bandai Namco and was released in Japan a year later, in December 2018. The game is being released as a free-to-play title with the usual item-based microtransaction. It is a massive multiplayer online role-player game that makes the player able to fight alongside other players to clear 100 floors of the floating dungeon. Given the series' popularity in the English market, players can also build and personalize their own character as well as fight alongside Koharu, the protagonist and heroine, who is voiced by Ozawa Ari, who has previously portrayed characters in popular anime such as Lily in One Punch Man, Tsukuha in Noragami, and Doreno in Ore Monogatari. Players will be exploring the Sword Art Online universe with Koharu, a name that they can customize and is controlled by the game's artificial. Players are also capable of choosing their own weapon, armor, and weapon skills equipment, creating a character who can set off their own character strength. Players are set off to conquer and create the 100 level, a tower-like wall that believes many domes players. In the game, players fight with a variety of weapons, including the sword, rapier, dagger, mag, bow, axe, and spear. Users can also use sword skills, which are special powerful attacks that can be used after the cooldown period has passed. Switching allows users to equip up their 4 squad skills and use them in rapid succession with other players. Users can use ability, sometimes known as passive skills, to equip extra statistics for themselves. The reality of skills is determined by the number of stars they have, and they can be earned by possessing orders from the shop and or as reward from missions or special events. Players can also use their potion slots to heal themselves during fighting. The plot begins as the players and Koharu are forced to grab as many resources as possible to survive and battle their way to the 100th floor to clear the game, during which all the players will be released from the game. However, dying in-game also means dying in real life. During the journey, the player meets several people which accompany them on the journey through the death game. A short manga reveals that the player eventually finds out Koharu is extremely scared of dying, so they voluntarily train her and the 2 boost of their stats together. Before long, the protagonist meets a player named Sachi. Koharu makes a promise to Sachi, saying that she will survive a boss raid that the group is about to take part in. During the boss raid, the players battle alongside the party's leaders, Deiva, as well as Kirito and Asuna, the main protagonists of the original anime series. Deiva attempts to take the last attack but is unsuccessful, causing players to shield him from the boss' deadly blows. He survives and Kirito gets the last attack bonus instead, causing other members of raiding party to accuse him of being a beater or a beta tester and cheater rolled into one. The nationality we picked this game is because its unique setting and diverse cast of characters had helped the light book sell 16 million copies globally, suggesting its widespread commercial success not only in East Asian countries but even in the Western world, bringing anime work and administration everywhere. They were very thought of introducing a cool and realistic future scenario and drew many die-hard anime fans, leading to self-inserts and a cruise for the show's success. It was also one of the shows that promote the now dominant isekai genre of the past few years, despite not being only one. Isekai is a Japanese genre of approachable fantasy. It includes novels, light novels, films, manga, anime, and video games that revolve around a person or people who are transported to and must survive in another world, such as a fantasy world, a virtual world, another planet, or parallel universe. Isekai is one of the most famous genre of anime, and isekai stories share many common tropes. For example, a powerful protagonist who can beat most people in the other world by fighting.
もしあの時
あの世界に
自分がいたら
君がいたら
何かが変わっただろうか。ソードアートオンラインスマートフォンゲーム最新作、西暦2022年浮遊城アインクラッドで起こった壮絶なデスゲーム。
これは君自身が歩むアインクラッド攻略の物語。君の出会いが
関わりがもたらす
新しい可能性。この世界を攻略するのは君自身。ソードアートオンラインインテグラルファクター。事前登録受付中。
君も攻略組にならないか。バンダイナムコ。
The next game we will talk about is Ghost of Tsushima, developed by Sucker Punch Production and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It received several award nominations and wins and received praise for its vision, art direction, and combat. For example, at the 30th Golden Joystick Award in 2020, the game was nominated for Best Audio, Best Storytelling, Best Vision Design, and PlayStation Game of the Year. While Sucker Punch was nominated for the Studio of the Year. This game is only available on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Ghost of Tsushima is an action-adventure game that takes part in 13th century Japan when a Mongolian army invaded the titular island. You play as Jin Saka, one of the only remaining samurai on Tsushima following a landscape attack that tripped out much of the warrior population. Initially, Jin's goal is remotely small. He wants to restore his uncle, leader of Tsushima samurai, who has been censured by the Mongol leader. But What makes it fun and interesting for the player to play this game is that the process is not straightforward. The conflict on the core of this game is not just only between the two opposite armies, but it also inside Jin himself. At the outside, he's traditional samurai who fed his foe hang-on and believe honor about all else. But that does not necessarily win your war. In order to successfully fight off the ruthless invading force, which makes use of strange warrior weapons and twisted design to terrorize the enemy, it forced to try different techniques. This played out in a few samurai, upbringing to become something else, making use the strange technique, morally questionable weapons like fortune dice, and more to become what the residents of Tsushima call simply the ghost. The reason we picked this game as an example is that this game allowed the player to know more about the history of Japan back in the 13th century. Besides, this game provides high-quality vision that focuses on all Japanese buildings, such as the Japanese castle. In Mandarin, we call it Chen of Zero in Japanese. ARR forestry construct primarily of wood and stone. Plus, they also have this cruel radiant dance, also known as the coronal flower that dominates the field with its beautiful red painting. There are a lot more breathtaking plants in the game that you can explore in the game. This is what made the game enjoyable and recommended by most people, especially people who like to know the history of Japan and the beauty of Japan or building and screen.
お侍様の戦い方じゃない。
誉れある戦いを忘れるな。いや、クロードだ。
In conclusion, we hope the audience benefited the most from our presentation. Adding to this, we also recommend your anticipations of both games to make the audience fully experience of the Japanese culture as displayed in the anime phenomenon version. A word to the wise to always limit your screen time and play games only when you are free or not committed to any work, as it may cause an addiction to the game. That's all from us. Hontoni, arigatou gozaimasu.